we prayed with her for a long time, and she had a healing. She looked totally different when we were finished, and she was just so happy. She said she knew something was changed, but we didn't know this. But at the end, she said that she was so bad, she never came out of her room. She didn't want to ever get out of bed or anything, and the only reason she came was because her friends invited her, and they kept telling her to come. Yeah.
Wow.
And then she went up and gave a testimony, which I didn't hear, but I think you heard it. She said she felt like the depression was being pulled out of her.
Oh,
Do you
yes,
remember?
yes. I did hear that testimony. She's saying it was as if they were pulling it out of me. She like used her hands like that. It was as if they were pulling it out of me with their prayer. Now that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
That was
really
wonderful.
amazing.
Yes. We were at that same venue, Jennifer, weren't we praying with someone at that same venue, a young woman who had some kind of a young girl.
I was just thinking that
girl, some kind of a virus.
about it. She was about 12 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and she had suffered from a virus and a fever for about 3 months. They really didn't know what was wrong with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she came up for prayer, and her mother and I think her sister were encouraging her to come up. And very bright girl. When we started to pray for her, we could feel that she just started to tremble.
That's right, yes.
She just trembled in the power of the Spirit, and we looked all over her. We looked at each other. Is she shaking? Yes, she's shaking. And you could see that her leg is shaking. And we asked her, "Are you okay?" She's just like, "I'm wonderful. This is wonderful. It's great." And we prayed for her for quite a while, and she stopped trembling. And did she feel better? You were in prayer.
Yes.
She felt much better.
Yes.
I think the fever broke.
Yes, and her mother was crying. Her mother came up and was crying to see this change, this wonderful change, because she'd been to several doctors and no one could diagnose what her problem was or give them any kind of hope for a solution to her problem. Mm-hmm. I think she had a headache. Also, Jen, very bad headache, persistent headache, and the headache was gone.
And that comes with the fever as well.
Right.
Constant headache.
That's right.
She was very much relieved and very thankful.
Yes. And that was the venue where that lady by the name of Joy had come. And I was just looking at her testimony in the book. She said her knee was swollen and she had all pain from the hip down. There was some other problems with it. But what I remember about her, and I think you all remember it, because the pulpit was next to, we were ministering to Joy right here, and the pulpit was right next to her, and Joy's leg was kicking and moving in all directions and jumping like with totally, you didn't know where it was going to go next. And people that want to come up and give their testimony, but it's like Joy's legs moving all over that. You know, she said in the testimony that she wrote that she wasn't able to kneel, you know, she wasn't able to like bear weight on it, and here it is going in all these crazy directions, really. Her words were, her knee was going berserk. That was like her words. I was thinking, yes, that's true, that's what was happening. But that she had a total healing in her knee after the ministry. Yes.
Dawn and I were praying with a young woman. She came up, she came for prayer a year prior to the venue that we're at this year. And she had problems with her neck, and she had experienced that for several years, that she was in a lot of pain in her neck. And she received prayer at that meeting, and her neck was healed. And she said, and it's fine. There's no problem with it still.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Thank you,
yes,
Jesus.
That was great, huh? So it's nice to hear about the healings afterwards. You know, that's really an encouragement for us to know that, you know, the healings persist. But then she went on and she suddenly began to weep, and she was telling us that she had been involved in witchcraft, and that she was really feeling very terrible about this involvement in witchcraft. And she said, you don't know what the experience was. And I explained to her that God knew what the experience was, and that He was ready to forgive her, and if she could forgive herself. And we just prayed with her for a while, and she wept for a while, and we continued to pray. And then as she looked up, you could see the change in her face, that she had relief from that, you know, through God's forgiveness. It was really beautiful. You know, so God is able to handle all situations.
Yes.
There's none that are an obstacle to God. He can come and heal all situations, and we're so blessed to receive that. And then I saw her later with her mother, and she was weeping with her mother, and her mother was consoling her. It was really quite beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful.